Back here in the Newberries a week later from the last trip. Still a Schultzia's coming up. Things are looking pretty ratty in general at this particular location in these hot flats here. Amsinkia's coming up, actually flowering a little bit. Erodium as usual. Not seeing much right here, but hoping for a lot. Gonna head up a bit higher, even though it's been pretty cool temperatures lately. There will have been much more moisture higher up. I'm just gonna check it out. Might as well with some of my last weeks here in the Mojave. Regardless of whether there's plants or not, I need to just know what's going on before I leave. Opuntia bacillus here, starting to bud. There's lots of drought pulverized material around, so hopefully the crevices, washes, more moisture available places will yield more botany. Clearly already more interesting than last week. Although higher up I'm not sure much will be going on. That'll be a mystery of interest for now. Ephedra's all coning out. Bahiopsis prolifically flowering over there. Got annual lupins appearing along this roadside, which I'm only taking for a short time. Celia's commonly in bud. Floral buds, that is. There's our frenemy, Cylindropuntia biglovii, looking sterile as ever. There's our buckthorn cholla there. But here and there, seeing much more flowering this week, a bit higher up. There has been rain past couple of weeks. I wouldn't describe it as heavy, but it existed. That's helping things along too. Less than an inch for sure over the past 2 weeks, but desperately needed less than an inch after no precip since December. Other Bahiopsis merely leafing out there. But quite a bit of activity in the washes and other more sheltered areas. Can look pretty dead on these flats here, but or barren slopes rather, not exactly flats, are they? It's a little bit of a flat. A lot more going on than superficially meets the eye right here, at least. This is pretty amazing. California juniper here, around 2,000 feet. Well exceeding 100 degrees most days across the summer. But it's clinging on here in this north-facing shelter drainage. Really quite an anomalous sight. I'm in the Mojave here, deep in the Mojave, and we have a juniper at 2,000 feet. It's incredible. Still early developmental phases here at 2,000 feet, despite the fact that my house at 3,000 is much greener and much more full of large individuals of Ensinkia, mostly. Just across the border that way in Arizona. So it's time to ascend to 4,000 feet or so, either going to see more lushness as we go higher, as may be expected from the situation just across the border in Arizona, or the storms just haven't been hitting this part of Nevada as much as just 20 miles away where I live, and it'll get even more barren the higher we go. And based on what I see, upwards in elevation here will determine the course of the rest of the month. In part, have something big planned next week. We'll see if it works out. Ran into some lush walls. It's a funastrum, not quite in flower yet. Baccharis leafing up there. Those don't flower till the fall, typically speaking. Quite a bit of lyceum breathing up, some of which is also flowering, some up there, some in the washes, different species even. Who knows what's hidden those shadows up there. Excited to poke around a bit in this suddenly lush spot. Plenty of invasives here too. Brassica. Sinkias, those are native. Someone probably wants to eat that grass, so I guess I'll just leave it. If I were a donk, just came upon this grass, or even a bighorn, probably be in temporary heaven. Spring remains fairly dull in the greater Laughlin area in the Newberries. Dropping into Bridge Canyon right here, though, from a random side spur. Bridge Canyon is one of the deeper and more major canyons of the range, so high hopes that there's fairly interesting stuff down here. It leads up to 4,000 feet or so into the massif just south of Spirit Mountain, across from Christmas Tree Pass to the south of Spirit Mountain. Lots of cell phone towers and such up there. And that's where the only known population of agave desertii, I believe it's called, occurs in Nevada. Be cool to find some more individuals of that, just poking around up there. And we'll see how far we get up bridge this eve. We'll be poking around 4,000 feet, looking for agaves and other things a good portion of tomorrow. Fairly large Senegalias and medium-sized Plukias here. Bridge Canyon, signifying presence of water below the sandy bottom. Even a large tamarix, holy crap. Not just tamarix, but other invasive plants. Got Pennisetum. Very distinct grass. See the long bristles all along this inflorescence of Pennisetum. Very distinct in the Laughlin area because of all these long bristles. Not showing up too well. Sorry about that. some of them are glooms. Maybe all of them are glooms. Need to look a little closer here. These long bristly glooms, though, in this bunch grass of dry washes with access to some water below in the Laughlin area. This is naturalized, not desirable to have here. Pennisetum cetaceum. Pennisetum comes out fairly easily. It's basically colonized this area and many other areas locally from Laughlin. You find a lot of it there. There's another one I ripped out. Pretty easy work. This is a sign of how little water has fallen from the sky lately. And early to middle March here. Early March. And not much left. Even in the deep potholes in a wetter canyon. I'm gonna save these beetles, though. It's kind of messed up that they fell. Yeah, stickly legs, almost like a Lois AC. Definitely more interesting here. Lots of things. Different things greening up. I know there's drops in Bridge Canyon below this area. I'm not sure what's around that corner. Could be drops ahead. Comes quite a slot. No drops yet, but quite slotty. Nice no linas on the walls here too. Pretty large Senegalias this area. In addition, looks pretty incredible. A bit rough with those Senegalias closed in there, though. It'll take some focus to get through. Only lightly scathed. Caves, a little bit of everything. This is what growth can look like in optimal conditions. Mild, at least somewhat wet in this slot. Fairly sheltered from the sun. Look at all this brand new backrest growth here. It's definitely this season, past weeks. Rapid and vigorous growth. You see what the old growth looks like. It's a lot more glaucous. Same thing going on here. These brand new shoots with those enormous shade leaves. These leaves are so big they're kind of outside normal variation of the species in sunny washes. Oceana coming up, the perennial desert one, Obtusifolia, sometimes referred to as Nicotiana trigonophylla, an old name though, meaning an outdated, incorrect name, not the oldest name. The oldest name would have priority and would be most applicable. Even top of a glass bottle there. Like I said, a little bit of everything. Here's Laughlin and Bullhead below. Had to go around an obstacle and bridge. Dropping back down again now, continuing up that way into those higher hills. Obstacle was not insurmountable. I neglected to bring webbing to haul my pack up. Quite beautiful out here. Would be good to return someday with a super bloom happening. Pretty grim plant-wise, gotta say. But high hopes for the future. Come April, be up north. Up north is where it's at. Back in beautiful bridge. Baby cakes. There's a ton of tamarix in Upper Bridge Canyon. Someone needs to come help out. Could only do so much, it's getting dark. Another juniper, 2,500 feet or so this time. A little bit less sheltered. And rather healthy though. Getting a bit bouldery suddenly. Someone has tread here before. As may be imagined. Technically in the Lake Mead Park right now, just across the border. Quite a bit more water now. Point where there's quite a few organisms living in there. And a nice seep. Beautiful. Not much tamarix around the water itself, fortunately. Plenty elsewhere if you want to come hack away at some. Continuing up Bridge Canyon. Quite a dirty yet wet pothole there. Well visited by all manner of creatures, including many bees. Some wet bottoms there with tall flowering Amsinchias, Cirsium, likely Mojavensis developing down there. Bighorns. Other things doing well on that wet bottom, to contrast with the barren desertscape without the canyon. Heard some hawks and ravens going at it this morning. Could have been arguing over something relatively fresh here or elsewhere. I think I'm gonna leave for now, since I'm parked just over there, not finding much that I haven't seen before. Almost nothing that I haven't seen before. Such a dry spring. Got a big higher elevation trip planned next week. Be best to prepare for that. Continue up Bridge Canyon in this relatively easy access point later in the month, I think. And we'll probably see more going on higher up as things develop. Development is still retarded in general outside of the canyon bottoms. Eriogonum just leafing out here. Berkelia, so on and so forth.